Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Sue, and you've just stepped into Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Every week, I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, a remarkable entrepreneur who's not just changing the world, but also harnessing a secret weapon, time outdoors. Together, we'll dive into their journey, unpack invaluable business advice, and discover why embracing the wild is not just good for the soul, but also a goldmine for inspiration and innovation. Ready to uncover the secret that's boosting bottom lines and fueling joy? Hit subscribe and join us in the wild. I'm excited to introduce Dr. Gary Wohlman, also known as the Presentation Doctor. Dr. Gary is an expert in helping people become better speakers and communicators. He's worked with all kinds of professionals, from business leaders to performers, teaching them how to speak with confidence and authority. Dr. Gary's unique approach helps people overcome their fears and truly connect with their audience. Whether you're speaking online or on stage, Dr. Gary's techniques can help you deliver the message in a very powerful and engaging way. Get ready to learn from a master of public speaking and personal expression. Dr. Gary, welcome to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. I'm really glad you're here.
I'm really glad to be here with you, Sue. And what a lovely introduction. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I'm dying to dive in and find out more. So let's do this and let's say first. All right, well, we're going to tell about where you are first. Let's do that. Where are you calling in from?
Well, I am here at the top of a mountain, 550 meters above sea level, 2 hours from the nearest real town here in Australia. I know you can take the boy out of New York, but you can't take New York out of the boy. That's where I started out. And I've had a Western migration my whole life, nearly 73 years now, 73 years young, look at me. New York, California, Hawaii, New Zealand, Australia, Bali, Thailand, and that's a little bit off the edge, as you can see. And so now I'm living on the east coast of Australia, a couple of hours south of Brisbane, in a permaculture community, talking with you on Starlink. So we have a great connection that's a bit unstable, yet there's something about the volatility and creativity of things that are unstable that I can accept. It's fantastic to have this reception, being so far and so close at the same time.
It's incredible, isn't it? With both of us on Starlink, I mean, this is a first. So I love it. All right, let's talk a little bit about who do you help and what problem do you solve for them?
Sure, great question. I help entrepreneurs, CEOs, managing directors, performers, artists, anyone that has a message yet struggles to multi-sensorize. I do it well because I've been physical champion, springboard diver, gymnast, track star, body therapist, court jester, to physicalize and multi-sensorize the message so people not only hear the talking head version of your expertise, but also see, feel, hear, and experience the full-bodied engagement, interactive impact, hear what I'm saying, and effectiveness of live and recorded presentations. So people at the top of their game who want to give a legacy back to their people and their staff and their teams, people who are developing as entrepreneurs, like a plane taking off the runway. I do a lot with my hands to show what I'm telling, and I teach that. People who have the verbal message, yet they struggle, their pain point, about authenticizing their wisdom so the whole body speaks rather than just the intellect. People get lost. So I help people find a connection between the head, the heart, the guts, the foundation, who are already successful, and then those who are starting out as well. I work at both dimensions of the spectrum.
That's amazing. I mean, it's we're so stuck in our heads so often, and that's so cool. So, all right, how has your entrepreneurial journey gone? You've been all over the world. You've done all kinds of things. How has it gotten here?
What's the last sentence?
How did you get here? How did you get to this point in your entrepreneurial journey?
The point in an energetic way, not a physical way. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand your question. I always read between the lines because I do have a lot of empathy and intuition and sensitivity and years of developing my own methodology that has basically led me to this place. All right. Started off with a love for the physical, a love for nature when I was a wild child growing up near New York City, a couple of hours, about 25 minutes north of New York City in White Plains, New York, Westchester County. And I remember, given the subject nature of the name of your focus here, EGW, Entrepreneurs Gone Wild, I did my best studying. I always remember this, climbing up into trees and sitting in the branches. Maybe it was the flow of the tree. I never knew about that. I'm not sure, but I always wanted to study with a book and a tree. I did that in high school and college. I was a champion springboard diver, a gymnast, a track star, and was very philic, friendly, oriented towards the physicality of expression. In high school, besides being a champion athlete, I won the award there in my very fine Horace Mann private school in New York City. That was one of the best, one of the most intellectually challenging and superior English department schools ever. And I, in the short 100 people in our graduating class, I received the award for the headmaster award that had the best combination of academics and athletics. And this has been the story of my life. When I moved from the East Coast after studying psychodrama with J.L. Marino, who brought it from Europe, who lived just an hour north in Beacon, New York, from where I was living, and improvisational theater. When I moved to San Francisco and not getting into medical school, I thought that was what I wanted, to be a child psychiatrist. It didn't work out that way. I moved to San Francisco. And when I moved to San Francisco, it was at the beginning of the human potential movement. A particular moment that stood out for me is when I didn't get into medical school and I was in deep pain and chaos and confusion at age 20 after having all of this wonderful education and training. And I went to a fraternity brothers of mine's father's, who happened to be a psychiatrist, home. I flew up to Boston. And I told him what I wanted to be in my life, child psychiatrist. And he heard me speak and he said, "Son, I have to say that who I see in front of me is someone, you talked about the security of being a doctor, the ability for you as a medical doctor to have all of this success and material support and material wealth. But what I get here is I see a young man who has such creativity, such intuition." I get the tears when I'm talking about this. Such amazing energy that I recommend you go to a place that the human potential humans movement is just starting, that you become a leader in that field. You don't have to follow in the steps of what your parents told you had to do. You can break free and find your own way. Wow. When I left his home, it was the first time ever I had a physical experience of my body of shouting, "Yes!" My whole body was recognizing this is truth, this is wisdom. The energy got uplifted. Ever since, I've been able to teach. When people have a question about what path to go, when they follow the yes in their full physicalization of the whole body, then that's wisdom, that's truth. I moved to San Francisco. I got involved in transformational body therapies, polarity therapy, deep tissue body work, Reichian therapy, bioenergetics, all of these different systems, and I developed my own form. From the experience I had in high school of wonderful being able to write and put thoughts into words, from my studying of Shakespeare and all the wonderful English department we had then, I had a finesse at that time with all the work that was happening on me from these therapies. I was able to free my ability to write songs, plays, do painting, all of this creativity that was bottled up in me. Oh my goodness, I made a decision at that time. If we are all like this, buried within our own landscapes, and it's breaking free through me, I'm going to devote my life, this is at age 20, 25, to freeing people as an archaeologist of the soul. I didn't have those words back then, but this is what it was. To dig under the physical layers of tension and find the emotional holding places of self-talk, keeping those beliefs of limitation in place, physical, emotional, and then out comes the creativity. I've created a form of deep tissue body therapy 50 years ago that stretches the muscles while speaking in rhyme at the same time, like Dr. Seuss, to catapult people on an inner vision quest in seconds that transports them to a whole new relationship to their body, their communication, their partnerships, their creativity, and their contribution to humanity. I've been doing this now for 50 years. It took me into then becoming a court jester. I moved to Hawaii and I came out as a court jester with all this creativity, traveling through artists in the school programs throughout Hawaii in my three-horned hat, in my face paint and harlequin outfit, turning people's lives around by providing living legends, that was the name of my company back then, and helping people get out of the box. Then I went to the Soviet Union, where my roots are from, and I began to acknowledge some more of my roots again, which were my roots. My great-great-grandfather, my mom's side, was playing clarinet for the Tsar. His brother was an artist. My parents would not tell me that there was any of that history because they wanted me to have a very strong professional intellectual career to follow and fit into the boxes. Didn't do that. And so when I came back from there and moved back to San Francisco, then I had a opportunity one day giving a woman from New Zealand a transformational bodywork session. And at the end of the session, she stood up much taller and said, "Oh my God, I never felt this clear and good and connected with my body, my wisdom, my creativity in my life. Come visit me in New Zealand at this little Waiheke island where I live, Bohemian Island. You'll love us, we'll love you." And that began my leaping into the unknown again, into this part of the world, Australasia. Been here for 27 years now. And here, my body therapy became government recognized. That never happened in the US. I was a needle in the haystack there, but here I totally stand out. And then out came the presentation coaching, developing that with people who are a little bit more stiff upper-lipped in this part of the world, from a type of background, England and so on, that they're not used to being quite as robust and gregarious in their expression. And so I brought that here to Australia, and basically it felt very needed here, not necessarily very wanted here at the beginning. Married an Australian and then divorced. I became a dual citizen. And ever since, I've been taking this work now all over Australasia. I've been at many spa conferences, and that lately, over the last 5, 10, 15 years, I've now been doing that more in Australia with speakers, developing speakers, entrepreneurs, and leaders, as well as the executive management team. So that's the short, long version of your answer. How did I get here from there? You've got it all now in 10 minutes.
It's an incredible story. I mean, to go from such a, like, this is the box that you will probably go in, and then all of a sudden, like, there's no remnants of that box left. You're doing incredible things. You've had an extraordinary life so far. You said you're 73. I'm like, all right, another 70 years probably. This is amazing. Like, wow. Oh my goodness. All right. So when you're working with people now, are they coming to you up on the top of the mountain? Are you, like you were saying, sometimes you're, in resorts, you travel a little bit as well to go serve them. What does your program look like when people get to work with you?
When people get to work with me, mostly it's online these days because I'm working with people globally, all over the world. Yeah, I did have an opportunity a few months ago to deliver my keynote presentation, Transforming Your Message with Your Body and Your Voice, at Cambridge University in the UK. And that, I'll put that link in the message below. I have that actually now as a powerful product of 20 minutes of the best of me, bringing out the history of all the tools that I've developed with wonderful teaching stories that is absolutely, and little slides that show exactly how my methodology works, that now I'm launching to go all around the world. people find me when they work with me online. Most people do these days. They can travel and meet me here. Some do. Some travel for hours. Some travel and they spend a weekend or go on a retreat with me, an executive retreat or a personal retreat, to be able to work with them physically, emotionally, mentally, creatively on all levels. When people work with me in this online space, you can see what I'm doing. I show people in my moving them through their progress, through their pain, through their challenges in the following way. We start off here. I'm going to show you how I move through time in the progression and the evolution of working with a typical client. We focus on what is holding you back. Even though you may be at the top of your game, even though you have many clients or you have a successful approach that you're stuck in or that you're comfortable with, I'll call it the familiar zone rather than the comfort zone. It's not comfortable at all, really. It's just familiar. I find out what is there, what event happened that have you hold back. Some people are becoming the greatest, most successful entrepreneurs and the top of their game and running their companies out of some pressure because they didn't feel good enough. This is one of my core wounds as well. We all have one. So we identify a moment where that happened. I'll give you an example. Let's say someone had their mom or dad or someone in their life oppress them, and they haven't really stood up to them, and they're always like trying too hard. They still don't have no time for themselves or their family. I do this. Tell that person, after getting your body energized, I now address you as though you're in a role play, a psychodramatic playback theater moment, an improvisational theater moment, addressing that person. I do it with my mom. Mom, you were always having such high expectations of me, and I became the best student and athlete, and yet I've always had this belief that I'm not good enough. In order to deal with your criticism, I've developed this feeling of trying too hard and struggling. It doesn't serve me anymore. Look at me, I'm young, yet I'm nearly 73. I take this pain, these programs, these patterns that I've taken on from you, and I send it back to the source. I send it back to where it came. My new self-talk is, so that's what people do. What is the new self-talk? So for me, I would say I'm creative, which I am. I'm playful, absolutely. And I'm transformational. I have speakers, presenters, entrepreneurs, people who are working with me online, then identify their 3 keywords and multisensorize it so it becomes the new default program in their muscle memory, in their cellular memory. I had them sing it, shout it, whisper it. All my days of court jesterhood pay off in this improvisationalizing to help people get out of their box. Whisper it, do it in mime, do it in mouthing the words with no sound. Say it in first person, second person, you, third person, he. I do this court jester exercise. Imagine yourself standing on the top of the rooftops, heralding the good news for all and everyone to hear. And then people do this exercise. First with a trombone, as though they're tromboning the news, so they get totally into a fun space, out of their familiar zone. The good news is, when they speak, they are creative, playful, and transformational. Then I have them write it, say it in the mirror. By doing it in all these 12 ways, I, you, he or she, we, they, shout, whisper, mouth, mime, gibberish, and write it down, it becomes instantly encoded in the muscle memory, and people shift their way of being on stage on every stage, every presentation in their lives. The next step is then to work with them with their presentations. Now we can work in the outer. First, it's the inside job. Then we start to free their capacity to connect with their clients. An upcoming speech is coming up. Great. Now we get into the zone first, either through gestures or gibberish or whatever of those 12 different practices gets them into that state, that resourceful, powerful, energized, inspirational state where you can see, like me, they don't have to think about things. They can say the words, The more I trust what I deeply know, the more my thoughts, my words, my actions freely flow. So I have them get into practicing these affirmations that embody. Then we work on their content. Then we work on their presentations. We help develop, through a speech cycle template I've created, the structure of their presentation. We work with participatory questions. We help them structure their actual delivery in their keynotes, their presentations. They're talking to their peers, their family, and it goes on from there. So then it becomes a whole journey from the inside out, from transforming the self-talk, working with the content and delivery of their presentations, and then helping them both online as well develop their YouTube content, developing their catalytic connections with people so they have more rapport, and then they reach people like they never could before.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Wow. I mean, I could see people working with you and then doing a TED talk or something. I mean, this is fantastic. I've never heard anything quite like that, where, every dimension, becomes transformed. And wow, that is really cool.
We just had a Starlink moment.
Oh no. And here I was going, man, Gary, this is insanely good. Like I'm picturing people like working with you and then doing a TED talk, this is an incredible framework that, I mean, to hit it on all those 12 angle, wow, this is not only preparing them to go give the speech of their life, but their whole life will be transformed.
That's it. You got it. You got exactly who I am. I work with people to transform. When I said I'm transformational, I'm not just doing a clever advertising jargon. I'm truly dedicated, devoted to doing this with myself. I'm doing this with others to turn people's lives, personal, professional, and creative, inside out, so they're bringing out the best of themselves. Their whole life is transformed. My book here, Get Up, Stand Up for Your Life. You can see me leaping off a cliff in this book, is all about that. These 5 different areas of people's lives will transform: your relationship to your body, which is how I started out, your partnerships, your communication, your creativity, and your contribution to humanity. So I focus on tools to assist people in doing that in the shortest possible time. I'm very swift in my work that is catalytic and lasts very long, because I'm working multisensorily. That's why it lasts so long.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, well, I could talk with you for hours on this. This is
We will.
fantastic. Yeah, let's definitely. All right. Now, you had mentioned that you have a waterfall practice. I would love to hear about that.
It's my favorite practice. My favorite place to be in are swimmable, safe waterfall. All over the world, I swim in some of the most amazing waterfalls. Oh my goodness. I remember in the 80s, I had a chance to be part of a vision quest in the Havasupai waterfalls in the south rim of the Grand Canyon, 10 hours walking down, and these 2 huge car length thick waterfalls are flowing down 100 meters, and I climbed down the chains into this and swimming down below, and out actually came a song. I had an inspiration there of this song from these 2 channels of water that came down back then, and the song is 2 is 1, 2 is 1, in this we sing, in this we dance. 2 is 1, 2 is 1, in this we sing and dance. Come we miracles be, in this way we all are free. 2 as 1, 2 as 1, in this we sing, in this we dance. So that inspiration came from being in nature, in the depths of nature, and a waterfall. I'm talking 40 years ago. Now, every day here on the mountain where I live, there's a waterfall. There's lots of waterfalls, creeks and streams, kangaroos, wildlife, all over the place here. I live in 800 acres of wilderness. And every day, after doing some yoga at the beginning of the day, jogging in the middle of the day, I swim around the dam clockwise and counterclockwise, and then I go down to the waterfall. Pause. When I go down to the waterfall, this is my practice. I climb into the waterfall from the top of the waterfall. I sit myself into this bowl where the water is streaming down on my head like a wonderful shower or jacuzzi. In the winter, I can't even get in there. The water is so strong and thick and flowing. Yet now it's just lovely to sit on this little rock, and I do the following exact practice. This gets me into the zone like nothing else. It's my favorite thing to do every day. When I get into the waterfall, first I'm sitting there and I go through 5 specific breaths and sounds that connect me to the following: horizontal movement that opens up my heart in this band, that opens up my ability to receive fully. I fully receive what I most strongly desire, deserve, and decree. I am ready to have it all. What matters the most to me. I allow, I receive, I claim it. Now, those are the words that go underneath the sounds I'm about to show you.
Okay.
And the sound that goes with that is the sound of opening up the heart. So I make this sound first exhaling with the sound of, you can do it with me if you like, just the ah sound to open up the heart center. Open the hands. The Course of Miracles says that there's 2 different qualities in this life. There's either love or the calling for love. So now my practice has, because I've been doing this every day for ages, advanced. So I'm not just making the sound to get me into the zone, I'm also letting go everything that's keeping me from being in a receptive place for inspiration. So I first let go with the sound of ah. Then I breathe in and fill that center. It's important to receive. Many of us as givers, as counselors, as healers, we give out, but we forget to receive, particularly if we have some self-talk saying, I'm not good enough. So I practice the out and then the receiving to fill that band. So I'm practicing receiving inspiration. The next sound is for the neck to free the speech center with the sound that goes up. I look at the tallest trees reaching up to the light, and I make the sound of E. 5 vowels, I, E, I, O, U, that I'm about to show you. E. And I'm either touching my beautiful gem of this necklace here, this opal, or my hands are here reaching up to the water coming from above. And the sound E is about, it's safe for me to share my wisdom and message with you. It's safe for me to share my speaking with you, is the underlying message that's underneath the sound that also clears grief. The neck center is also where we express grief and emotion. So it's that full demonstration of honoring all of the emotions. So directing the direction up vertically. The third sound is I, the I am presence that connects us with who we art. I am that I art is one of my favorite affirmations. And so this is directing sound up and down through the spine to the highest and to the depths of the spine, through the base of the spine to the center of the molten earth, with the feeling of I trust what I stand on, a firm, flexible foundation that supports me. I am that I am that I art. Looking at all the trees around me while I'm sitting in this waterfall and feeling all of us together, not just me doing it in isolation, connecting with what aspires us and what reaches us to our deepest foundation, our deepest roots, our deepest calling. As I make the sound, ah. For a long time. Then I breathe that in to fill that center. The fourth sound is the sound O, that I honor all circular processes, all processes that are circular, that we are all connected with, all beings, all life forms. And I do this feeling all nature doing this with me. And I either put my hands like this in my belly center, or I simply make the sound feeling the interconnectedness of all living things. And I go, breathe in. And the final sound is oo, the sound of a didgeridoo, or the sound of an oo sound, as deep as possible down through the base of the spine to the center of the molten earth. manifesting my visions, manifesting what I desire, manifesting all that I'm here to be and become in this life. I finish this practice by putting all these sounds together in a one sound that becomes more of a melodic flow that sounds like this. I breathe in, I come out of the bowl, I slide in this little mossy sliding pond at the edge of this waterfall into the pool below, and I do another acrobatic practice where I continue to do somersaults, forward one, backward one with a spin, 2 forward, 2 back, 3 forward, 3 back, and then I lay and I do meditations with a similar process with a key word and sound for each of the 12 chakras that connect me even further in the pool below in nature, connecting with my deepest nature. And then I go through a process of connecting with these different areas that help me connect even further with my wisdom, with my truth, with my ability to be receptive and open to whatever inspiration can come to me. Because after I do this practice, I am in a totally resourceful state, and I get some of my best creative musings, awakenings, inspirations for writing, for songs, for connection with clients, for transformational rituals. I can go into more depth about what that last ritual is about, but you can also connect with me because that one's a little bit more lengthy and I don't want to take more time unless you want to know more about it. We can go into that. And it's a very focused ritual since I've been so disciplined with my body all this life that also has a different color for each of these different centers, and then basically frees the different chakra systems we're talking about that connects me with faith, with love, with peace, with harmony, with trust, with devotion, with love, with truth, with, then I go through the 4 different planets of Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, and then Pluto to connect me with higher realms of connecting with all that is and all beings that connect with all of these realms. So it's a very focused practice. I do it every day. And the 5 AEIOUs, I don't have to be in a waterfall. I can be in nature or anywhere, and I do it throughout the day. In 1 second, or 3 or 4 seconds that took, I can be so distracted or upset or dealing with the client, and that simple practice snaps me into the zone in seconds. That's my practice.
Amazing. That is amazing. Like, I love this. This is so cool. Oh my gosh. This, wow, that's cool. And I love that you're just, I mean, we walk away with something like, you can go do this, like do what he said, like just play it over and over until you get it. And that's fantastic, man.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's actually also on my YouTube channel, Mastering Presentation Skills. I'll put the link in here too. I actually show how to do this practice, similar to what I just did, but it's kind of a guided meditation to show you how to master the AEIOU. That's what it says in the YouTube channel. It's fantastic, helping people. I do this not because I feel a need to. I do it because this is what brings me to exquisite aliveness. There's nothing I like more than being alive in this body in this lifetime. And as a result, people are often going, when Harry met Sally, I want what you're having. How do I do this?
That's so great. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like when we find something that works, right? And we've created it, or it's, landed in us. It's so much more satisfying to bring other people along too. Like, you could just be happy on a mountaintop by yourself. That's fine. But it's got to be even more deeply soul satisfying when you're like helping other people to do that too. That's really cool what you're doing.
Thank you. Interesting what you say. From being off grid, Sue, for the last 2.5 years on this mountaintop, I have reached a renewed relationship with aloneness. No longer do I feel separate when I'm alone. I'm now connected with all oneness. It's the same spelling. I'm using my gymnastic abilities now to do acrobatics with words. And so the aloneness, the all oneness that I now feel within my own soul, the feeling of being enough, and now having the ability through the online stage to be able to connect with souls all over the world as never before over the last 4 years since we've been able to use Zoom and these methodologies and these technologies. Happen even more in a week or so when um, the Pluto moves into Aquarius for the next 20 years instead of being focused on Capricorn and Big Brother and having to do things the way the things have all been done tradition, to waken up to these. So my ability to be very much with my own aloneness and all oneness, and to connect with others, to show people how to navigate this online space, and to be able to give people wisdoms that they wouldn't when they're stuck in their own movie, their own self-talk, and their own beliefs and limitations. So the combination of aloneness and connectivity with people through this Zooming and this online presence is giving me the best of both. The synergy is even more powerful.
That's really remarkable. I mean, it's a fantastic thing. It's remarkable that we're able to connect all around the world like this and have meaningful conversation. And that's, man, I would love to go for hours with you, but all right, tell where they can find you online.
People can find me online. The easiest way to say it verbally with the fewest words, which we'll have all of this in the chat and below, wherever you have it in your social as you send this out, is when you write and find the link of, I'm going to spell it for you so you can get it clearly. Oh, you see it in front of you. You see my name, D-R-G-A-R-Y, Dr. Gary. So Dr. Gary .club. Boom.
Oh,
that
that's
brings you
easy.
to a website like Linktree that will open up my YouTube channel, that will open up a complimentary 30-minute discovery call with me where you can tap in and then you can connect with me like we're connecting now, live, wherever you are. I'll take you to levels you've never been before. That will happen through the ability to reach me through the online discovery call. And there you'll also have access to my presentation, doctor.com, my business website, and other areas where we can connect. That's the easiest ways, and you'll see all this information and the links below.
Wonderful. That is fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing this practice, for letting us see, like, you're having so much fun in life that it's just not even funny. Like, it's so great, and I think that's something that entrepreneurs really need is, we sometimes have a hard time, but you are really, really doing something really awesome. And
Thank you
I
so
can't even
much.
put words.
Well, I love taking people out of the box. It's been my life journey, so I'm not proselytizing or preaching or teaching it as much as I am modeling it, because it's what gives me the feeling of this exquisite connection. When I was in my early 20s, I met someone who was quite intuitive, and they turned to me and they said, you know what? In your life, you're going to be having so much fun. They didn't know I was going to be a court jester yet. It was years before that. I was probably already a court jester lifetimes before. But they were basically saying to me, hey, listen, you're going to be using you more, or you more of you, to bring people through delight, through inspiration, not through heaviness, or you have to do it this way and doing it tried and true because this is the way you must do it, but with a feeling of such ease and enchantment and inspiration that it'll catapult people to places because they feel moved, they feel playfully eased into what before was a real threat. So that's what I do. I make it easy for people to make these shifts.
That is beautiful. Thank you for being here. Don't go anywhere because I'm just going to kill the recording, but we'll be right back.
I can't wait to speak with you more.